What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content daily. We also stream over on Twitch at This Is Aftersound, so come by and say hello. Okay, so I wanted to talk about the upcoming release of Riftwatchers and the sale of it being done exclusively in SPS and what that might do in terms of locking up the overall SPS amount. Now, I know people are probably more excited about what this can do to the potential price of SPS, but I am not going to focus on that because I'm not sure how much of an impact it will have. I do believe it can, and I know the team is confident that it will have an impact, but I want to look at where we're at with today's number and what that might look like for us when we get to the Riftwatchers release. Now, Riftwatchers is scheduled to come out some point in Q3, which is also when the airdrop will end. So airdrop will end sometime close to the end of July. And if Riftwatchers comes out around that time, I do believe we're going to have about 840 million. We'll just like round up and say 850 million 850 million SPS in circulation by that time, with the amount that's being diluted between now and then. And maybe I'll go through and double check my math, because I did this a little while ago, but not that it should change, but in case they've added anything else or other methods for SPS to be released, I can do an updated video on that. But let's go ahead and dive into this. Now, SPS was above 11 cents yesterday, and I want to give it a little benefit of the doubt that there's could be a slight bump in price. So I'm going to round this up to the price per token being around, we'll just say 12 cents, right? I'm not getting crazy here, but I do believe there could be some upward price movement for SPS in order to, when people want to buy into the Riftwatchers packs. So from what we know so far, and again, nothing here is set in stone until the team fully releases a white paper on it, but they have mentioned that the Riftwatchers packs will be sold for $5 per pack. So we're going to get $5 per pack, not 85, $5 per pack. Divide that by 12 cents per token, and that gives us 41.6 SPS tokens that will be locked up for each pack sold. And this is not counting vouchers or anything. This is just the SPS price. So 41.6 packs for every pack sold. And from what we know so far, again, all this is subject to change until the team officially says so, there's going to be 3 million total packs available for sale. So that locks up 125 million SPS. Now, for context, let's look at that with 850 million SPS in circulation at that time. That's locking up almost 15% of the supply, which I would say is actually quite significant. So here are my biggest takeaways, at least from what this could potentially do. Now, people talk about supply shock being, a major catalyst for a price spike. But supply shock is really just a major catalyst for price movement, right? And the reason I say that is because the price could move down too. If there's a lot locked up, but people are dumping the token, then if there's not as much liquidity out there and there's less supply, it's going to dump harder in the same way that it could spike harder. So just being cognizant of that, right? I think one thing that is interesting to look at here is if we do get 15% locked up, with roughly half of that being staked, right? So right now we're doing actually a little bit more than half of SPS in circulation being staked. So let's do the math on this. If we're at 850 divided by 2, so 425 plus your 125, once again divided by that 850, you could have roughly 64 or 65% of SPS being either staked or then being locked up in the foundation. So this could be a huge price movement, and I wanted to just share the numbers with you of where that could go. Now, if the price goes higher, something to keep in mind is if the price goes higher per token, then that would mean less tokens being locked up. The thing is, I don't know, here's the deal. We saw SPS spike a ton during we saw SPS spike a ton during the pre-sale, or at least after the announcement of the pre-sale for Chaos Legion last year. But one of the big differences is that the liquid supply, or I should just say circulating supply of SPS at that point in time was significantly less than where it is now. I mean, I think it was less than 1/3 of where we are now. I remember when I was first starting to stake SPS and really, look forward to, getting something out of like the whole voucher system before we knew anything about it. So this is maybe like end of September after they announced that Chaos Legion was coming. There was less than 200 million SPS staked, whereas now I believe we're over 600 million, maybe even over 650 million. So the supply at that point, we had a supply shock, not because things were locked up. We had a supply shock just because it wasn't as diluted as it is now, and there wasn't this massive sell pressure from people, either earning it from the airdrop or staking rewards and selling it for cards or whatever the case is. So can we see that? I guess the big question is, can we see that from a price perspective? Can we see that in the future? Yes, we can. How much the impact has, I don't know, for the two reasons listed. SPS as a whole is much, much more diluted now than it was at that point in time. So, even looking at this as like, let's say we have, even if we have like 75% of SPS staked, right? Which would be crazy. So by the time the airdrop ends, if you have 75%, let's see, 0.75 times 850 minus 850, this is still more than that initial spike that got us, right? Because again, I was looking at it as like there was 90 million circulating and 90 million staked. This is close to the end of September. So that was less than 200 million. And right now, even if you have 75% stake, which we don't, we have a little over 50% stake, there's still just so much more liquid SPS out there that, sure, the price will go up, but are we going to see $1 again? I don't know. I don't see that happening. I can see some price movement, and I know that I was extremely conservative saying that we would go from 10 cents to 12 cents or 11 cents to 12 cents. So we may see a little bit more than that. And just for context, I'm curious now because I haven't done the math. But let's say we do jump to something like 20 cents per token by the time Riftwatchers comes out. So all of a sudden, if we're doing that, 5 divided by the 0.2, that's 25 tokens per 25 tokens per pack that will be locked up. Multiply that by 3 million, and I think I know this off the top of my head, is going to be 75 million tokens locked up rather than, I believe it was the 125. So still a significant amount. But again, in my opinion, it's significant, but like it's weird because it's a significant amount. 75 million SPS is always going to be a significant amount, but at the same time, it also feels somewhat insignificant due to the fact that we have so much higher of a circulating supply than we did when you're comparing it to something like Chaos Legion, right? So that's actually all I wanted to share with you guys. Just some of these numbers, something to think about as we get closer. I don't make price predictions, so I have no idea where this is going to go. Do I believe there will be upward price pressure? Yes. Do I believe that some of that upward price pressure, is happening now? Definitely. If I was a whale, right? If I was a whale, I would probably be buying as much SPS as I could right now because that when when the announcement comes, you want to have the bag ready and waiting. You don't want to be buying then. And they have already given us, as early as at the end of last year when the SPS roadmap came out, that was the earliest point in which they gave us information for Riftwatchers that it would only be available for SPS. So, that's part of the reason that I've been accumulating SPS like a madman, is because yes, I could buy in the future, but if the price goes up significantly, then, that means less packs for me to be able to purchase. Whereas now, if I'm buying now and just accumulating as much as I can, then as the price goes up, I have two options. I can either buy more Riftwatchers packs, or I can sell at a profit, right? I can flip SPS if I really wanted to. Now, do I want to flip SPS? Not really. SPS is one of those buy and hold tokens to me. But yeah, if SPS spikes up higher or, does hit $1 and I'm completely wrong, that's one of those situations where, since I didn't even see it coming, I would probably want to take some off the table because it would feel like we got into some kind of euphoria situation again. But that's all I'm going to share with you guys for right now. I'm actually curious to hear your thoughts, though, on where you think price could potentially go, or if these numbers make sense to you. Maybe you feel like the impact of locking up anywhere between 75 million to 125 million tokens is going to have a bigger, kind of supply constriction than what I'm giving it right now. But we have the news. I guess what I'm trying to say is we have the news. The player base as it currently stands, and the players who are most involved, and the ones that are probably going to be buying a ton of packs, already have the news. And my bet is they have already been they've already been accumulating SPS at this point in time. So that's all I have. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I will catch you all in the next video, and I will see you around the game. Take care.